right. Voice of Hawaii. It's the Rick Hamada program on News Radio 830 KHVH.
Tito Montes, president of the Hawaii Republican Assembly, in studio with us on our visit on a Wednesday. Tito, how you doing, bud?
Good morning, Rick. Great to be here.
You know, the Cato Institute recently published an analysis of our welfare recipients here in Hawaii, and lo and behold, thank goodness we're at the top of the list. You know, we're going to win at something. It may not be in football, Tito, but as far as doling out the public cash, it appears that we're doing pretty good.
We are. Hawaii is number one. Congratulations to us. We are the number one welfare state in the nation.
How did we get to this point? I have my own analogy, but what's your take?
Well, my take is you give people enough, incentive to follow you and everything else. What better way to do it than free government handouts? But the thing that hurts me the worst, Rick, about this is I just know how much welfare, just really relegates people to, second-class citizens and just makes them feel that, you just can't make it here in America without the government's help. And just the endless cycle of ruining people's dignity. That's the thing that hurts me the most about it.
It's interesting because it seems that that's a compromise that folks make. Mm-hmm. They'll take that dignity or that ego, if you will, and kind of set it to the side because the reward counterbalances and outweighs whatever the emotional side is. My analogy is basically it's GM all over again. What the government is doing is just continually feeding benefit. But at the end of the day, it's going to collapse.
But by the end of the day, it will collapse, and it's not a self-sustaining system. Yeah. And, a lot of the people who, vote Democrat or whatever because they feel that, they're getting these benefits and everything else like that, they're really cutting off their nose to spite their face. And you're right, it's not a sustainable thing because at some point, like Margaret Thatcher said, the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. And, the fact that the main thing that really shocked me also from the Cato report was that, if you're on welfare here in Hawaii, I think after taxes, that equates to like $49,000 a year. Yeah. And what was really shocking is that when they equated that to a private sector job, that's equal to, what do they call it? An entry-level computer programmer. Mm-hmm. So somebody who goes to college, works hard, gets a degree, goes out there, finds a job, works hard. You're making the same in your entry-level position as a person on welfare.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, we can clarify this later. I think the number was at about $50,000, which was the remuneration in value, and then the non-taxes boosted it up even higher to nearly 60.
60K, that's right.
And I read that and I went, well, I'm resigning. I'm done. I don't have to get up at 3:30 in the morning.
Well,
anymore.
let me just point out too is that I'm not looking at the total repeal of welfare. I will admit that welfare in certain situations does save lives, and certain people out there really do need it, and people do fall on hard times and have to fall back on that. The sad part about it is that the government has made the rules of such to where a lot of the money, a lot of times, doesn't get to the people who actually need it. And a lot of the money goes to people who, again, abuse the system. It's really tough to legislate every type of systemic interaction that can happen with people out there. And people are smart. They'll find loopholes. They'll find ways to stay in the program and dodge the system. And that's where a lot of the money is leaking to those people who really don't need it.
So what happened since 1996, the Welfare Reform Act that was brokered by Clinton and a Republican Congress, which was actually cited as one of the better accomplishments of that term? So how have we drifted from the mandates of 96 and the Federal Act to where here in Hawaii we're wildly, seemingly out of control?
Well, I remember back in 2006, there was a lot of positive speaking about, hey, from 1996 to 2006, in 10 years, the number of people on the welfare roll has been cut in half. Mm-hmm. That was a great victory. But what else happened in 2006? 2006 was the year that the Democrats retook the U.S. House there in Washington. And a lot of that stuff started to fall back to the wayside. So now all the good work that has happened, with the welfare reform that took place in 1996 has all been washed away. And we've gone way past where we were in 1996, and we've skyrocketed past the number of people who are receiving welfare.
Well, not only that, but I mean the unemployment and all of that 99 weeks. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just been a huge, massive social drain. I'll just share a quick thing. When I was working on the cruise ships, when we were off of our contract, we were eligible for unemployment, paid into the fund. You could file because you weren't working for that gap and whatever. And I remember, and this is when I was much younger, I hated it. And that was unemployment insurance.
Right.
And that's something you pay into the fund and you're entitled to and all that, fine. But the fact that I was waiting for a check to be issued to me from the government or whichever entity, this is ridiculous. So that internal compass is something that I alluded to before, that people will quell that feeling if you're making the equivalent of 50 grand a year.
And how long did you have to wait for that check, Rick?
Yeah, exactly. Not exactly on clockwork. But
right. And the thing is, too, is that, one of the things I want to point out from the Cato study is that the people that they talked to and the people that they looked at and all their analysis, that, a lot of people out there do want to work. Okay. But when you are not properly incentivized to go out there and work, yeah, we all want to do good things, but when you make it easier to do plan B, well, then you're going to have those people stop looking for work.
Yeah.
And that hurts private business and small businesses as well. When you don't have people out there looking to strive and go forward.
It just seems it's a lot easier to get to a certain point than it is to get back to a certain point. So we've come this far. Two very quick questions and points on this. One, what would a Republican-controlled government in Hawaii do in regard to this situation, welfare, etc.? And let me start with that. I think that's enough to chew on for a moment. What would happen under Republican administration?
Well, one of the things that has to happen with welfare, at least here in the state, is you're going to have to go over a lot of these rules and terms of, who gets to have welfare and not. And one of the things I'd like to cite is in Florida, and some other states are looking at this as well, is that in order to receive welfare, you have to pass a mandatory drug test. So there's a lot of things that can be done to clean up and stop a lot of the waste of welfare. Welfare is not wasted on those who need it. Okay, I want to make that point clear. Where a lot of the waste and the abuse is coming from, where it gets to people who find those loopholes, and that's the first thing that has to happen. You have to have another welfare reform here in the state. And of course, my other point is with a Republican-led, House and Senate here and the governorship in Hawaii, you have to incentivize and help small business. Small business is the driver. And the more you put government on the back of small business and you drain them, the worse things are going to be. So these people are entrepreneurs. They want to succeed. They're motivated. They're ready to go. But when you have a 5,000-pound weight on your back, it's hard to move.
Is Hawaii a socialist state?
I would say yes.
And the definition is derived from?
Socialism, meaning where you take other people's money and redistribute it to everybody else. And the hard, working people here in Hawaii who pay their taxes, their money's being yanked out of their pocket and being redistributed to everybody else. That's socialism. And I can tell you right now, my tax bill on my income is about 40%.
Yeah.
40% of my income gets taken away.
What will it take? It seems that this message is fairly, if not understood, publicized. We've had numerous national, studies that have shown this. We've had local politicians that have actually run on this. I believe even Linda back in 98, because that was one of the first reports out of Forbes that really was hypercritical of our economy. And that was part of the conversation and debate. Sure. So that goes back years and years. Why is it that politically there doesn't seem to be, there is not a political response to addressing what ails us? And I'll use even these two areas, both in welfare and also in the redistribution of that wealth. Mm-hmm. People understand that. Why is this continually then affirmed at every election?
Right now, one of the things that I think is really hurting the Republican Party is this sense of defeatism. And, when you're on the right side of welfare reform, you really are on a good side, because you're not going to be, characterized as somebody who, hates the poor or whatever like that. You're really helping them. You really, really are. Now, the left and the Democrats, may try to characterize you as somebody who's, they're going to die on the vine and, all these other slogans and slanders that these guys put out. You're actually going to be helping these people. You're going to be helping them move forward and helping make sure that welfare money gets to the people who actually need it. So it really is compassionate to have welfare reform and stop the abuse. So I think it's a winning issue. It's an issue that resonates with people. And again, you have to message it. You have to be positive. You have to be strong in your stance. And believe me, you're going to get the ad hominem attacks. You're going to get all the canards. You're going to get all the rubbish that's going to come at you. But you have to stand strong on your argument that welfare reform is actually going to help the poor more. And when you have fewer people paying into this dole and having their money redistributed, all those other nonprofits and charitable organizations and churches, you're going to see your coffers go up because more people are keeping money in their pocket.